What's up, fam? All Clouded, episode 51, and we are here again. Yeah, episode 51. What have we been up to this week? Picked up another mastery. I think we did our stream versus our progress update in a different order. So I'm trying to think about what we did different. I think we did milestone, just a young milestone push. We picked up another mastery. I did dabble a little bit into investing in some assist mods. I'll be able to show you guys my thoughts and how I got on or how I didn't got on. But for the most part this week we have just been testing. So I've checked up on this run and man, it's not going too well. The perk order and how I got everything, like everything off the rip, was good. But overall, I'm not quite ready for this configuration. So what we could do, we could take a look, and the run itself is a whatever. But for the most part, we can go over the run history and everything. I don't even, because I switched it from my cloud phone to this emulator, so I could make this. You know the drill when you swap things or when you touch menus. You know, you start your run back up and then all of a sudden you lose all your shields, lose all your defenses while all your ultimate weapons are uploading. But hey, look, we'll go around. We'll go around the table. As always, timestamps are down below, so if there's a section in particular that you want to look at or you want to double back on something, go hit it up. So we're at 44.79. The fleet's about to come soon. For the most part, this portion of the run is whether the run will continue or not. So if we get overcharged, or you get I think it's Commander, the orange one, it can generally drain all my defenses by about now. I'm not kind of equipped to kill it at this stage. I can kill fleets at the other waves, but at this wave I'm really relying on that second wind to carry us through. Every now and then we might pull a clutch as a kill on one, but I don't really rely on it. But we start rolling into that RNG phase of the run. So all we have to do is second wind survive and then just get our shields back. Like 1 or 2 shields, we're on a roll. If we get a super bad RNG on the spawn, we'll lose our second wind, we'll lose our shields, and then it might throw a protector at us in the downtime of our activations and that. I think things would be a lot different if we had perma black hole, but because we're running more of a sync strat, that's kind of the thing that I'm in. But for the most part, we seem to pull away with it. And then we got this guy. So we're fine. As long as my wall doesn't drop or whatever, he'll just eventually die off. So that's kind of like the RNG side of it. So for the most part, our runs have been going around that 5,000 wave mark. A bit over, I'll be able to show you guys more of the maximum. 17 trill damage. I am missing some cards. We'll go over to the cards at that part of it. And I might actually set up my next run. So I might kill this run after this. It's not looking too promising. So it's at the 4-hour mark, 340 trill. So by this stage of the game, I'll be over 400 trill. And how I've got things configured and set up, it's to be expected. So in this run, we'll keep going around. Here's how the rest of my stats are looking. I'm still going with the 1.7, and I've introduced back in the bounce shot. So what I normally do is I get a higher coin per hour most of the time with a lower bounce shot range. But it kind of works this way. That whenever we're looking at the runs, of course it's super handy that we've got the coin per hour, but when you're manually restarting your runs and setting up how many you can squeeze into the day or what's the best kind of structure, then it fits in with your IRL. Not necessarily chasing the highest coin per hour is going to work out, because you also want to factor in any downtime in your runs. Like if I just chase the highest coin per hour, I would just do tier 14s. But then there will be a whole window of like 3 hours downtime, so that it's just going to lower the coin per hour. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's not just the coin per hour. You can easily crunch up numbers in your runs and see how much you're actually accumulating over the day. So sometimes I will adjust things, and most of it depends on where I'm at with the more damage I have, the further I can go into waves. Sometimes I don't necessarily want to go further into waves, but normally when I get another level of intro sprint mastery, then the build adjusts again. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's just this constant tweaking. And then we've also been having a bit of fun switching up with different mods. So this run is with I'll say a non-optimized G-comp. The reason why I say not optimized, because there's ways that see, you touch the menu, you instantly die. That's what it is. We could have just ended it anyway. So we'll just go around the table. So stats 385. I think in the last video we're about 315, so that's about 60 trill. 60 Q this week. So that works out roughly, because you got to factor in tournaments, and sometimes some runs don't end up as good as you wanted to, or some testing. But if we divide it by the 7 days, you know, it's 8 or 9 Q. So where that sits me is, I feel like we could maybe be comfortably, or maybe not so comfortably, but maybe we could be doing 5 masteries at once. So that's something we can look at when we get to that point. We're almost at 50,000 stones. Holy moly. 16 keys. 16 keys, lads. Waves completed, 6.2 mil. Research, 2.19k. Lab coins spent, 128. And here we are as far as our peaks. So still in the tier 14, so 5294. So we get like 5,000, 5,100, somewhere around there, and we saw a peak of 235. So this is the milestone we picked up. We picked up the tier 15. I probably actually could have done it sooner, but I tied it in for our last tourney, and then I just snuck her in there. So that's pretty much how the runs are going. We can look at the run tracker, so you can see the difference there. That last 500 waves for me makes quite a significant difference, but comparing these two, this is more like a typical run, so about 5 hours. So where we're at, if we look at this as like a typical run, 2 quadrillion a run, about 5 hours, it's roughly 450 trill an hour. The cells 188, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good with those cells. So we can run 3 of these runs, 3 5-hour runs. So that takes it to 15, and then we could do a 9-hour overnight. So here's what a 9-hour overnight looks like. So here's my overnight from last night. Where is it? Obviously a lower coin per hour. It looks at about 3Q. So I would do one of these as an overnight run. Coin per hour is kind of, it doesn't matter. It's just total coins while I'm asleep is what I'm looking for. So if we could close the gap and what our total coins are in the run, then we might be on the money to drop out tier 13. So it'll be just tier 14s. And whether we change our cards or something to try to get that, we might be in the money. So one thing I'm considering is actually a tier 14 overnight without intro sprint, and seeing if I can close the gap so the total coins will equal above the 3Q, if that makes sense. So that's something that I want to test out this week. But this is a very typical run, and this is somewhat a very typical overnight run. So it's about the 9 hours. So that's kind of where we're looking. We did the runs, we did the stats. Let's take a look at tourney. So we're getting keys. Very, very close. This window here, lads. This whole window here. And this group. So this whole group here, including myself, so close. This guy, I think he ran like 4 or 5 times. Like I seen him jump like here, jump like there. A little bit later or a day later, jump over here. This morning, jump there. So like he ran a number of times to try to get him in the pocket and ended up pulling through. But I was super worrying about this one. But what I'm over the moon with is that's a PB for us. Now I think it was pretty easy battle conditions because I think quite a few people got higher waves than some of the other tournaments we've been doing. For the history, 488 waves. The person behind me was only 20 or 30 waves away for 488 waves. Damn. Almost 500 waves doesn't get you keys. Or this guy here, he's only 2 waves away. He'll be absolutely pissed. Absolutely pissed. 500 waves, he doesn't even get your keys. Or you get certain brackets, doesn't get your keys. But look, it is what it is. We'll take it in 20 minutes. So for the event, I think I just got this nuke mission. What I normally do is I go to a tier, I jack myself up with a bunch of EHP. We try to do a bit of a horde, and then I just drop the nuke. And then I pretty much spam it. I think the other way you can do it is actually just equip it, put a number of labs to recharge the nuke, and then every now and then when it refreshes, that's how you can do it over the week. I don't currently have the coin slots, or there's nothing that I am willing to sacrifice in order to do it that way. So I'll just stomach it, probably actually after this video. I'll just stomach it and I'll just punch through it. Pretty much stack up the enemies, explode them, restart. Stack up the enemies, explode them, restart again and again. The only dumb thing is you can get probably like 100 on the screen. And then outside of that, it's just refresh. For the guilds, so everyone's probably looking like this. We're all pretty much booked out. I just got to get this relic. But that'll be all of us. 14 days. What do you guys reckon? You reckon we got a patch coming? We probably got some sort of patch. I feel like we don't have a major patch coming. What does 14 days take us to? I mean, it takes it into February. But, yeah. I actually think it might get delayed a bit. But, being hopeful, absolutely hopeful that we get a major patch, V28. I know everybody's talking about it. Actually, thinking about it, V27's been out for a while. So, not that. Here's how this thing's looking. We could probably go like that. Boink. And that's that. I haven't optimized it yet. I'm sure I say it every video. What do we got? For the workshop, what I do need to do is... So if I'm looking to get more waves, like at the moment I'm not trying to do 4 4-hour runs during the day and an 8-hour run overnight. At the moment I'm looking to do 3 5 hours. So I pick up a bit of bounce shot to try to survive a bit longer. Because if I can just die in 4 hours and do 4 4-hour runs, I'll make adjustments in the build so that I can get the highest coin per hour like during that time period, if that kind of makes sense. But then if I'm looking for extending the run a bit longer, then we adjust things accordingly. And the rest of the setup has basically been how I've been doing it for ages. One thing I did do is I picked up attack level skips, 400. What I'm super interested in. So that's level 400. So if I wanted to take this, put another 50 levels in this. So it's about 30Q. I can't remember how much is in there at the moment. There might be, so it might be about 20Q or something like that to get the rest up. So some stage, I want to pick it up. And free ups can just do it. Won't have to tap anything. But the reason why I put attack level skips in is just to help with fleets. And it does make a difference. It does make a difference. It's not a stark difference for me at the moment, the way my tower's set up, but it's a good enough difference that every now and then we can kill the fleets. Like that last one that spawned. Oh no, I suppose actually that's a super easy one. Here's how our damage tab's looking. Anytime we got a bit of change, I just stick it in here. Or just stick it anywhere. Just stick it anywhere, lads. I have actually gone into this tab now. So I don't feel like regen is any benefit to me. So just health and war health. And these numbers here, how did I come up with these numbers? It's not through an effective path sheet. I didn't crunch the numbers to try to work it out. All I did was just do it so I have enough coins to actually afford the orb size. So we're at 1.45. Now I kind of want to get it to 1.5. That's another 30Q. So that's about 3 days worth of farming. And then you also have to factor in labs. So it might be a little while before we get to that stage. Have I changed anything in here? I think possibly the kill bonus. I'm not sure if I had adjusted that last week. But regardless, or you know, whatever, this is what our utility tab's looking like. And for our U-dubs, have we done anything with the U-dubs? I don't think so. Nah, we haven't done anything for the U-dubs, but if you are curious, this is what we're looking at. Level 4. What's Chrono Loop? Level 3. So unlock +3. I feel like I'm super missing out not having the substat roll for speed reduction. Here's Black Hole. I really want to pick up like another 2 clicks. And with Ohm Chip and Super Tower Mastery, it makes this look super appealing at the moment. One thing I do have to do is, and I know it's battle condition dependent, but hear me out, lads. So this tourney, we got to that 505 waves. Boom. I got exploded on. And I was doing alright. I was living on the edge, but I feel like there's still more juice in the tank. And then when I looked at the heat for the battle conditions, because there's an ultimate weapon duration battle condition, with the substat rolls on my dimension core, at that waves, that 500 wave mark, we lost out a second on CF. So it must have been when the black hole dropped, and somewhere in that blank space of time, the CF dropped and everything teleported towards me and died. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to pick up another second of this just to cover that shortfall in the build. So some of those other battles that we've done, or those other, what do you call it, the other battle conditions, even with the ultimate weapon duration in it, I'm sure somewhere in there in the last, like, I want to say 4 or 5 tourneys, we haven't survived long enough that duration was a problem. But this tournament, we did. So it's probably wise to pick up that extra second. And then I think I might pick up this duration based on that sort of thing, where I'm getting at with my tourneys. Yeah, I mean, I might have been able to squeeze another, 5, 10 waves, 20 waves maybe, who knows. Or maybe I might have just got the same. We're only hypothesizing here, lads. But that's where our ultimate weapons are at. So for cards, we did pick up another mastery. Boom, let's go. We got cash mastery. And it's so funny. So I was saving up for either ultimate weapon crit or energy net mastery. And out of pure frustration for not getting rolls that I wanted, I was like, screw it. I'll just pick up the Mastery. It's cheap as chips. Now, I must have crunched the numbers wrong. So I didn't crunch it before I picked it up, but I do remember I had crunched the numbers previously, and all I did is I went over the percentage chance over how many elites that we did in the run. So I calculated our, where is it? Here's our elites. I just calculated the elites. What is that? Vampires, raise, scatters. That's weird. It says total elites 3,000. Oh, it's about 3,000. Yeah, so I calculated out the total elites that I got over the day. I crunched the numbers for the percentage chance that they're going to drop you reroll shards, and I came out with this awesome number, and I was like, 500 stones. Cool, I'll keep it in mind. You know, something later down the track. And then out of pure frustration, I was like, oh, I'm never getting what I want to roll. Boom, I picked it up, and I was expecting this explosion in reroll dice, and it just never came. So somewhere I didn't crunch my numbers correctly, but there's probably a way to tell. Somebody's probably designed an infographic for it. But yeah, at the end of the day, we got another Mastery, so we're still at the 20 card slots. I am going to stomach it and pick up the last card slot. Now, if we do have version 28 coming, heaps of people will be hoarding gems and stones and stuff, which is always a good thing. But honestly, for 8,500 gems, I don't think anything's coming in the new version for me that will be able to provide me a 3.5x damage multiplier. I honestly don't, because that'll just be super OP. If everybody had access to something that's 8,000 gems and it could give them the 3,000. Now, what we could say is, why don't we put it in another card slot? Now, I'm already strapped for card slots, so this is basically the only card slot that I run. I do this one for overnight. This is pretty standard for like a glass cannon build. What we're missing though, slow aura, so that's 1 card. Critical chance, that's 2 card. This is what, a 31% slow. This is like 25 or 30% damage, so that's 2 cards. And demon mode. So that's 3. That's 3 cards that I'm missing out on. Now what I would probably do when I get this card slot is I do the demon mode first, and then I'll double back to these. And it would be either, probably slow aura, and then I'll go back to crit chance. So I'm already strapped for card slots at the moment, and it super sucks. So I do have to slog it out and save up for it. But I feel like there's nothing where I could get that much value from anything that they'll release in the new version for the current state of where I am. Now, other people might be in a different position where they can just purchase it with keys, or there's other things in here that they don't need, but that's exactly what I need. It'll be a massive boost to our account. So that's what we're doing. No hoarding. Same with stones. I can pick up another Mastery or something like that. That'll be the best bang for buck over anything that they release in a new version. But there'll be a bunch of people in the community that will have options. And then there'll be a bunch of people in the community that, depending on what the next update is, they're not going to see it for a while. And I know it always stirs people up. It always stirs people up. People get super wound up about it. Oh, there's nothing for me. Hey. Kids, sit down. Parents are talking. It's one of those ones. You know, look, I 100% get it. But I don't think any of the updates that came out with the new systems, I don't think I ever seen it that way. It was like, oh, cool. Well, when I get to that stage, I can't wait to have those new toys. So I'm just doing the Masteries now. Bro, they came out 2 versions ago. It was like version 26. Like, I've got the assist mods in that, which is the version 27. But I'm years away from getting super into them. So that's still ages away for me. But yeah, if you're in that position where, and if they do release toys for the big dogs, you gotta remember, fam, the big dogs gotta eat, man. The big dogs gotta eat. You know, you gotta let the big dogs eat. And the good thing is that they can just be the test dummies. You get to see how they did it. Like, there's pretty much a good path for Masteries now, because that many people have gone through it and I've tested it, I've done everything. That any Mastery you pick up, you can see everything about it and how all the information stacks. Well, at some stage people had to crunch those numbers, and at some stage people had to buy them. Like Super Tower, everybody bought Super Tower, and then they brought out a patch and then they changed it because it was too yoked. So it's just one of those ones. Hopefully there's some stuff for people that are earlier in the game. But yeah, man, you still got to get yourselves the Masteries. Still got to get yourself through assist. So if it is in-game content, try to aim for the content that was 3 patches before that first, because there's so much utility and fun and all that sort of stuff when you get to those unlocks. I know it's always a hot topic and people get their knickers in a twist. For the moddies, so that run there, we did G-Comp. Now, where we're at, for me, the best middle ground or bang for buck is running these 2. Now, the reason why it's running these 2, and it's not going for the reverse orb devo, which would be using the ACP, could use OA, but ACP or Space Displacer, doing that sort of combination. The reason why it's not the best bang for buck for me is because the duration. So the duration that in my golden tower, so I'm at 65 seconds sync. Now the problem is when we do the big horde, you're blasting them outwards to the outer edge, kind of getting them to circle your tower, waiting for the black hole to suck them in to delete them. To have that as optimized as possible, what you really need is a duration longer than your GT cooldown or your sync. Whatever your sync is, like if you sync 60 seconds, you want that GT duration to be past it. And the reason why, and I've explained this in a couple videos ago, is because when you're hoarding in the reverse orb devo, when you're spamming it around your tower, and you're doing a big horde, what you're trying to do is you're trying to hoard as many as you can, where you're not spawn capped for too long. So you're kind of like this, they're all around your tower, and then you want the black holes to suck them in. So we do it again. The mobs come flying through. We keep them on the outside. We throw a death wave at them, tag them all, suck them into the goal bot or to the kill zone, and we draw them all down. Now, if your GT duration is lower than your sync or your activations, the problem that you have is everything that's on the screen does not count towards that GT plus or your combo. So where that puts us is I need to increase the duration on my GT plus, my GT. So I need to take this duration up. So I could take it past 65 seconds. It'll be expensive. I think it's quite expensive to do that, where the cheapest route is actually just put a couple clicks in the death wave cooldown. So 2 clicks in the cooldown, so 100-second cooldown. It looks a bit funky because we got the substat, but 100-second cooldown. And then we take 2 clicks of that away, and that takes the sync with the Multiverse Nexus down to 58 seconds. And then all we have to do is take this up to 59, and then we're past that point. So when we're getting that big stack or that big horde of mobs, when we suck them in to kill them, it still adds to the GT combo, and that's where you're getting the best bang for buck. I feel like it's something similar with G-Comp. Like if we had a longer duration, or we had a better sync time, it would push us more to perma, and I think that's where, for my configuration, this setup would work well. But at the moment, just because of Masteries and, you know, our personal stone economy, it's not the best setup for me. But I know at some stage we'll end up moving over to like a G comp, and that'll be when we have a different sync. We're probably chasing more of a perma build. Yeah, we will get to that part at some stage. It's just not at the moment. So one thing we did do with assists is I took this to 10% to the multiply efficiency, which is only like maybe like 200 stones or something. It's cheap as chips, so I did it last tourney and it did nothing. Like literally nothing. If I actually took the time and I crunched the numbers out, I would have realized it. So at the end of the day, we're gonna eventually put a bunch of stones into that. It's not that day, and that day's not gonna be for a while. So I'm definitely not touching it. If I was gonna touch anything, it would probably be the substat efficiency. Because if we go like this, put it in assist. Like, these numbers here, it's like, yeah, it's rubbish. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to really give you anything. But you start stacking that number up, 20%, 25%, 30%, and now these ancestral rolls start actually working for you. So, yeah, but again, that's another thing that's not on the cards for a while. I've still got to complete the version 26 stuff before we actually move on to this version 27. And depending on what version 28 has installed, there might be some dipping into some of that stuff. But I'm assuming that, much like assist mods, it's going to have a much later unlock. Like an unlock that is going to be a while for me. You know, it's like the milestone stuff. To unlock Masteries, it's a milestone unlock. To unlock assist mods, it's much the same. And it's going to be same for whatever new toy that they bring out for the big guys. But that's been pretty much us. What has been absolutely killing me, which is what frustrated me, is trying to re-roll this. So I'm trying to get the Ancestral Deathify, and it's absolutely killing me. I've had a few of the other rolls, and that's not even to mention the stuff that I really want to roll. Nope. What I really want to roll is my Dimension Core and my BHD. But I just want to get this thing over and done with this ACP. I feel like any time I've rolled on armors, I've had like absolutely terrible luck, or it's just used way too much. It's to the point where it's so frustrating that I just want to do the labs. So re-rolling hasn't been going good, but haha, that's what you get. I do have a little bit of change. I might actually pick up a level, pick up another level. Yeah, we're good there. Yeah, so that's how Modi's been going. This is where most of the testing's been happening. And not true testing. Like if I was truly to test a G-Comp BHD kind of setup, I would start like respecing my bots. I'd respec my Guardian in that. So I'm not doing true testing, but it's pretty easy to see where you fall short when you're doing some testing in that. So even though, like when we compare the runs, these two here, obviously this one's way better. So, but it's not, when I look at the difference in it, I look not so much how it's performing, but I look at where's the holes in the build. Like, there's a reason why setups work for certain people and not others. And it all comes down to the configuration of the tower. So if it's something that you want to try or you want to do, when you're testing it, don't just test by how much money you're going to make, how profitable it is, or whatever. Take into consideration where's the holes in your build, because you're moving from one setup to the next. It's like if you're a WoW player, you know, you're moving from one set of armor, you know, to the next sort of armor, and then there's going to be holes in the build and where it's different to other players. And it all comes down to, really, what I always say, it all comes down to your playstyle. Hey, look, claim. Boom. Next, 250 stones, 2 keys. Yay! Where does that put us at? Here? So 10 for an unlock. So if we get a good bracket next week, we'll be able to unlock the auto demon. And I think after that, I'm going to go for a card slot. And then we're going to save up the almighty save. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 70 keys. Damn. Oh, well, that's what you get, eh? That's what you bloody get. But, yeah, wicked. If we get a good 20 next week, we'll have the auto demon mode. And what I can do is I'll just throw something out to put it in there. I don't know what it'll be. I'll probably test it with ultimate weapon crit gon. So in between, see which one performs better. Yeah, that's probably my best advice for anyone, or you know, me sharing my thoughts, is whenever you're testing anything, use that testing period to look at where's the holes and the differences. Like, how could you optimize which one? And then you go from there. Like when I switched to BHD, it took me like 2 or 3 weeks. Like I could have tested it once, or you know, 2 or 3 times, and oh look, it doesn't work, something's wrong with this. Oh well, go back to what I was saying. Or it's like, okay, why is it not working? Where's the holes in the build? Okay, I'm gonna need that. Ah shit, how long is it gonna take to afford that? Oh, it's about 2 weeks worth of tawny stones. Alright, sweet. So I'll do that over the course of the next 2 weeks. Test again. Ah, okay, now we're closing the gap. Okay, I can see where it's synergizing with each other. Another week, few more adjustments, convert over, boom, now you get the jump in the econ or whatever you were doing. Yeah, that's all we gotta say. So for the labs, intro sprint masteries at level 8. So the next one jumps up to 1600 waves, which is awesome. Super tower masteries really good now. Now it's really shining that it's over the 50% mark. So we're over the 50% mark of its uptime, and I feel like now, each time one of these labs have gone off, it's just performed so much better. It's so handy and tawny with the ohm chip. Demon mode mastery, that's another one. Big jump in damage and tawnies. I can't wait to use it in farm. And cash mastery, yeah, again, just purely out of frustration. Sick of getting stink rolls. How are we going for the speed up? So we're basically all labs at 4, 1 at 5. And I can run another lab at 5x for maybe half of the week. So 3-4 days of the week I can put another one at 5x. And I've just been doing the lab coin discount. But what I might do, and there's probably a way I could work this out, but what I might do is, since we seem to be surviving having 4 masteries going at once, is I might try for 5. Now, if we're going for 5, what would our 5 be? So the toss-up that I have is I'm still pushing for things that can help me in farm and tawny. And here comes the theory. So the ones that I want is either ultimate weapon crit, so we can basically double the chance to ult crit, and the other one is energy net mastery for killing the boss. So both in Tawny and farms, bosses are annoying as hell. I'm not nowhere near the stage of Borb City. That's something that'll come way later down the track. Thousands and thousands of stones in CF Plus, orb adjuster, everything. This is like way too far down the track to sit there and wait to Borb. So it's either of the two. Now there's benefit to both. If you go with ultimate weapon crit, it's going to apply more damage to boss anyway. It's going to apply more damages to raise, which are another pain in the butt. And it's also going to spread out more damage since there's the battle condition that goes against your orbs. Now the other thing is energy net mastery is exactly the same. So the energy net mastery does only affect the boss. It's a huge multiplier. Like look, it goes up to like 20x. So it does only affect the boss. So the argument could be, oh well, it only it only affects the boss, and the raise, all you're doing, you just eliminate that problem, and then it'll just be like raise will forever be the problem. However, what we have to remember, kids, is we get to get this perk back. 1.65 tower damage. So you're gonna get that big boosted damage, which then you can use to help with raise, and you can also use to spread the damage out through the mobs, to what are those things called, fleets as well. So both of them. Now as far as which one's the most optimum, I don't know. We'll just get both. They're really cheap, eh? Like what is it, 750? So for 1500 stones, what's that, 3 weeks worth of tourney winnings? It'll be absolutely fire. And since what's going to finish next, this one's going to finish next, we can save up, buy one, and by the time we save up to buy the other, I feel like this will be finished, and we just get both. Now there's definitely like econ ones in here that we could get, like extra orb, obviously coin, enemy balance will work really well, not just for GT combo, but also for the cash mastery. Those are just the given. But if we're going to spend stones on econ without using an effective path, my gut feeling says going GT or changing the sync so that we're firing off more often and then we can do different setups with the build. I feel like that's going to be better bang for buck, personally. Now I think coin mastery is something like a 30% extra coins, which is nothing to scoff at. 1250 stones though. I mean, look, it's nothing to scoff at. It's definitely nothing to scoff at. But for just a little bit more stones, we could move down to a 58-second sync. So, yeah, there's probably a way to work it out. I don't want to sit there and calculate it all out. I'm just gonna still stick with putting econ to the back burner. I really want to do it because there's a lot of things that I want to buy, but at the moment I think Masteries is probably the best thing. CF Plus is probably far better, and it's all because we're getting so close to getting kicked out of getting keys. You guys seen it? 3 waves the other tourney before, 30. Now I could say, oh, that's bad bracket RNG, and absolutely, some brackets I might be getting 4 keys or 6 keys or whatever it is, but you got to be prepared for the bad brackets. So I'm still gonna keep pushing with the tourney, and if we fall behind in the econ, it is what it is. At least we can still afford Masteries. We might be able to afford 6 Masteries. So that's kind of where I'm at this week. Gems, save up for another card slot. Keys, 2 keys away from getting auto demon mode. And stones, 1 of the 2 Masteries. we won't have it 500. We won't have it for another 3 tourneys. So we've still got 3 tourneys away from picking up another mastery. So that's where we're at this week. Keep on testing, keep saving, keep grinding, and just a massive thank yous all for tuning in. So, if you like what you see, you know the drill, fam. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you can see when the next video is coming out. And as always, keep it cloudy, fam.